Today, we are talking about millennials, and I kind of hate the word millennials because every time somebody says it, they mean it in a negative way. Those stupid millennials, those lazy millennials. I am not a fan of the term millennials, but if you would like to, if you're listening to this on iTunes or in Stitcher or something like that, and you're not listening on my site, go to ElleryWells.com/millennials, 2 L's, well, a total of 3 L's and 2 N's, Millenials. I spell it out because I was misspelling it apparently. There are 2 N's, not just one. I hate the term millennials. And if you want to go and have a conversation with me about being a millennial, about how millennials suck, or how they're awesome, ElleryWells.com/millennials. Though I am technically a millennial, I don't like the word, and I feel like there's far too much of a difference between those of us at the older end of the spectrum and those of us millennials at the younger part of our coffee in the morning, wine in the evening generation. I know, some of you are out there, and I've been this way a long time. I'm kind of an old soul, but I am dangerously close to using words like whippersnapper and yelling at kids to get off my lawn. But I've been that way a long time. I'm an old soul. I've always liked wine and cigars when all of my friends in college were like beer and college things. I don't know. But as the owner of a digital services and media and website building company, I had the chance to sit down with a local startup and have a discussion that gave me some interesting insight into how we as millennials can play a vital, if not crucial, role in the growth of our economy. And I'm not just talking about millennials here in the United States. I mean, we exist, I guess, all over the world. But we can play a vital role in bringing our economy back to where we want it to be. I don't want to say where it was, but where we want it to be. And as I helped this family that I was sitting down with, this family business determine how to integrate technology into their day-to-day activities, I realized just how important we are and how millennials are primed for success in today's business world if we can put our phones down, get out of our parents' basement, and step up to the plate. Now, I don't live in my parents' basement, and I'm actually thinking about the new Nokias came out, and I'm thinking about getting one of those. But anyway, or not one of those, just like a dumb phone. I got technology all around me all the time, but thinking about downgrading, if you will. I'm sure every age group has felt that things in life have rapidly changed during the 20 or so year span of their generation. But millennials can, without a doubt, claim that we have seen the most change in our lifetime. The internet. Millennials have seen more changes in our, albeit short lives. Granted that we're only like 35, 36 at maximum. We've seen more change than almost any 2 generations before, maybe 3 generations combined. And that's why I think we wield more power than we realize and greater insight than we recognize. Again, if we can step up to the plate. Now, all we millennials have to do is look up from our phones, put down the game controllers, stop reminiscing about the good old days of Oregon Trail and Super Nintendo, and embrace the capabilities of our You've Got Mail generation. Over the past few years, millennials have gotten a bad rap. I've heard it from family members, not about me, but the millennials that they work with, that we're lazy, we don't want to work hard, we don't wait for anything, and the list goes on and on and on. Some of my friends and family members have even complained about our work ethic. They complain we take our vacation days as soon as we earn them. They complain that we never stay at a job for very long and we're always hopping from one company to another. Part of me wants to tell this older generation that they reap what they sow. And that's what they get for filling us with Ritalin and having us try every single sport possible before we're even 10 years old. And another part of me wants to ask them why we should buy into a system of employment everybody knows doesn't work and waste away for 40 years before we die 5 minutes into retirement of heart disease. However, millennials, if you're a millennial, listen up. Just because something doesn't work or function the way we want it to doesn't mean we can ignore it or not leverage our considerable skills and talents to improve it. But that's a topic for another day. Here's why millennials are primed for success in today's business world. So there I was at a Starbucks across from a new but quickly growing business in Austin, Texas. And to my left, actually across from me, were the two parents, the owners, the baby boomers. To my right, my fellow millennial, but a much younger one. So young, he doesn't even remember life before internet or cell phones. We made a comment about card catalogs as a way of doing web indexing, and he really had no idea what we were talking about. As we discussed how to best merge technology with their more traditional business, one with saddles and horses instead of computers and phones and those kinds of things, I began to notice just how different those two generations can be. On my left were two people focused on building their business, what I'll call the old way, through customer service, treating clients like family, working hard, hand-holding their clients every step of the way. And then on my right, wanting to build business the new way, was someone who wanted to use technology to scale, automate everything, and push customers to use their company's systems. And then there's me, in the middle, nodding and agreeing with everything and understanding both sides. And that's what's cool about being an older millennial. The old way versus the new way. Those of us in our mid-30s have an interesting view on the world. We've seen businesses like Amazon go from small startups to billion-dollar companies, while established brands from our childhood, like Circuit City, go belly up. We've survived the dot-com boom and bubble and burst. We saw Walmart with a dash become Walmart without a dash. I think it's now all lowercase letters, whatever, and pushed the little guys out of small towns all around the country. I'm assuming maybe even all around the world. And we logged into Facebook repeatedly, and it became our go-to resource for news, information, entertainment, and so much more. We use our cell phones, but we also have the ability to remember when our phones used to hang on the wall. The old way runs you out of business. Our world today changes more in one 24-hour period than it used to in a week, possibly more than it used to in a month. Companies that adapt succeed, and ones that don't get run out of town by companies that do. My clients who wanted to hold the hands of their customers will never build a $1 million, much less a multi-million-dollar business. If you refuse to let go, scale, outsource, and automate, you will always be limited by the amount of work you can do in a given time frame, usually 24 hours, 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, whatever. The new way, however, can kill your business before it gets off the ground. There is such a thing as too much automation, too many computers, and too little human interaction. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I automate a lot. And in the past, I've automated too much, and I needed to go back in and add a human touch to a lot of the things. But we millennials can navigate those tricky waters. We can walk the line between the old way and the new way. But here's the millennial way. We older millennials remember the days before everything was done with a computer. We remember writing checks, wrapping our books with those paper grocery bags, and having to wait for our Pentium computers to boot up while we went and did something else. Older millennials also know what it's like to order from Amazon Prime now and get their product 90 minutes later. That's awesome. We got our first cell phones when we got our first car, and our first iPhone when we got our first job. We use apps to shop for houses on our tablets, but get frustrated when we have to go sit at a table to sign the paperwork in person. We know what it's like to browse in Barnes & Noble. Remember that? Or Borders? We know what it's like to browse in Barnes & Noble, but purchase on our phones to read on our Kindles, and sometimes we do that before we even leave the store. The Millennial way is an amalgamation of 30 years of technological developments, all designed to make our lives easier and faster. The Millennial way is a combination of customer service, a personal touch, and the automation and scalability that come along with technology. The Millennial way is personalized efficiency. But here's where we can come in and offer and share the best of both worlds. As a business owner myself, and after nearly 20 years in sales, I recognize the need for both a personal touch and for the effective implementation of technology. I know business owners can't do everything by hand. And I also know we can't rely entirely on hardware and software to build your business. And I mentioned that just a second ago, using too much automation. Business owners today have to operate in an environment where we cannot treat everyone the same, but we have to treat them all with consistency. All around the world, companies are struggling to implement emerging technologies into their marketing, sales, and business strategies. They're trying to take care of their long-term customers while attracting a new, younger generation. And that's why millennials are primed for success in today's business world. Millennials are the generation of both. And we're geared to think win-win. We believe we can have both the personalized experience from our childhood and the on-demand speed of today. We believe we can both make money and make a difference. We believe we can both work hard and party hard. I should have said play hard. Party sounds, I'm going to change that. So we can work hard and play hard. We believe we can have it all. When millennials can help companies, employers, clients, and friends live in a world of both, we all win. If we position ourselves as the bridge that connects what was, what is, and what could be, we'll be the most critical employees and we'll have the most successful businesses the world has ever seen. With one foot in the offline world of the late 80s and early 90s and one foot in the online world of stream everything, wait for nothing, we are in a unique position to leverage both our youth and our experience. But here's some tradition versus innovation. I can hardly talk about something with versus in the section title when I just talked about having both, but I'm going to. See, for us, tradition is important, but it's not everything. As millennials, we know what it's like to have disposable furniture from IKEA, but we also know why history, culture, and quality matter. We millennials know what it's like to get overlooked because we were younger than our competition. But we also know that older doesn't always mean better. Our traditions have gotten us where we are, but our ability to innovate and create are what will get us to where we want to go. We've learned how to cherish the past, but we also know that pruning is key to growth. Millennials are old enough to know we're not invincible and young enough to not be entirely jaded with the world or set in our ways. Sometimes those ways work, by the way, and sometimes they don't. But millennials are the linchpin. We have seen home automation science fiction become a reality. In my office right here, I have, actually I don't know if they're plugged in, but I have multiple Hue lights. Almost every light downstairs is connected to our Samsung smart home. And we have seen this smart technology go from this sci-fi stuff of the Jetsons, which I'm always reminded of. You can probably figure that out. We've seen that become a reality. We've gone through the process of converting our tapes to CDs and then again to MP3s. We know what it's like to custom order a pizza online and have it delivered in less time than it would take for us to make it ourselves. But even with all of this change, we still remember what it's like to stay out after dark, invite our friends over for GoldenEye parties, and what life was like before DVR. Millennials are the linchpins that hold our economy together. Without us, our parents' generation wouldn't even know what today's youth are saying. Millennials speak 401k and emoticon. We play video games and buy houses. We have children, but we bury our parents, and many of us have had to take care of both at the same time. We entered the workforce when no one was hiring and figured out how to make it work. We've been fired and laid off. We've been married and divorced. We want things for free, but don't mind paying for things we value. We've gotten degrees and diplomas because we were told to, but then we realized that those things aren't enough. Millennials are primed for success because we have a unique perspective, one to which no other generation can really stake a claim. And when we can use that perspective and leverage it as one of our best assets, we as millennials will win. And so will the people around us. Thank you for tuning in to the ElleryWells.com audio blog. If you'd like to leave me a comment, share your thoughts on being a millennial or how much they suck or how awesome they are, go to ElleryWells.com/millennials with an S, millennials, and leave a comment for me at the bottom of the post. From Round Rock, Texas, I think it's time to head out back. I'm your host, Ellery Wells. We'll see you next time. If you like this type of content, make sure you go to ElleryWells.com/awesome, and I'll send you a free gift, some free resources, and you can stay tuned to everything that's going on inside the community that has been purpose-built to empower and equip entrepreneurs. I'll see you there.